Folks, what is going on? It is another Friday. Here's another edition of the the TDT Media Friday Night Flagship. I am your host, Jack Gaffney. Once again, I am joined by Cy Ingersoll right to my right, and below us, the big man, the man with the greatest jersey collection you will ever find. And I will fight you over that. That is Kenny. Boys, we've made it 20 plus weeks of football. It all comes to a head this Sunday. The big game at the end, if you will. If you're an original XFL fan, you'll definitely get that. But nevertheless, Super Bowl 60 is this weekend. How we feeling?
Kenny, lead us off, big dog.
I'm super excited, and it's my holiday. It's my Christmas. It's my New Year's. It's everything all rolled into one. Sunday is the biggest day of my existence. Even though I'm not the biggest Seahawks fan, and I really can't stand the Patriots. No offense, Jack, but I am all for the Super Bowl. I'm all for sitting down with friends and family and watching this game and seeing how it all plays out. So very excited for Sunday.
It's here down in old Texas. It's been talk of the town. I've had countless people ask me like, all right, so I like, who are we going for? Who are you cheering for? Like, what's the play? Like, what are we gonna do? But I'm excited. Definitely like national holiday. Like really. Um, Food's always good. This is the time. This is the time where we always get the really cool commercials that people spend millions of dollars on to get 30 seconds. For the sports bettors out there, this is our field day. We can't bet on national anthem or do like the other really niche things otherwise besides this week. And for the actual football lovers out there, both the teams that are in it this year, pretty good. Cool stories behind both of them, and the halftime show is arguably what I'm most excited for because I don't have a dog in the fight, unlike one certain Northeastern that's on the screen right now. But I'm excited. It's gonna be really cool.
I thought you were talking about the halftime show. I'm like, I like Bad Bunny.
I'm talking about the halftime show, but I'm talking about like there's a certain person here, you, who has actually a team.
Yeah, no, I thought that meant like the halftime show. Like you would catch me dead before you see me watching Kid Rock in 2026. It's not happening. I promise you, it's not happening.
Oh, that's couldn't say any better. But no, I'm excited. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
I mean, naturally, I'm excited. It's like this is gonna sound a lot more like pompous and arrogant than it probably should be, but like, I think it's fair to say I probably have a much different relationship with this game and weekend than probably most people. Realistically, am I unfair to say that?
I say you're fair.
I would say so.
I mean, the fact that they're here, in and of itself, is like mind-boggling to me. Less so once you got into the playoffs with the Patriots, because it felt like once they got there, it's like the lane's open because Mahomes isn't there. They can beat Josh Allen, obviously. If they played, who knows? But they beat them in their barn earlier this year, and obviously with the Chargers having some issues with the offensive line and stuff like that. It just feels like surreal that this is still the case, though. And like for a team like Seattle, again, we kind of talked about this last week. All the change that's gone over there the last 3 to 4 years, and just how quickly things have kind of ramped up. And again, they had some big moves this offseason as well. They got rid of DK Metcalf.
Mm-hmm.
They're bringing Clint Kubiak, who's in his second year now, correct? Or is he in his first year? He was with the Saints last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think he's first year.
And again, you're bringing Nick Manwari, who was a huge addition up front as a rookie. Same thing with Gray Zabel on the other side of the ball.
Dog.
Like,
you're bringing Sam Darnold.
I don't want to say this is the most improbable Super Bowl ever, but it's kind of got to be in that discussion, I think. No?
Both teams were, correct me if I'm wrong, each team was the number one seed in the respective division, but with no Mahomes in the playoffs for AFC, that really shook things up for the AFC wides, really made it seem like it would be anybody's fight. And then with NFC wise, you had the 3 powerhouse NFC West teams that were in the playoffs. Then you had the sleepy, sneaky Chicago Bears, and then you have the Green Bay Packers, who just did what they usually do, get the 7th seed with a honestly kind of subpar record, and then just like maybe something happens, maybe something doesn't. Really depends, but no, definitely a strong argument for both teams to be in this seat in this situation. And I mean, if you watch the playoffs, really good games all around. Never seen so many close one score comeback wins ever. Which I mean, if you're a football fan, you gotta love it. But no, definitely they're here. They did what they needed to do. Don't matter what anybody else says. You're in the Super Bowl. You're playing for the big one. All that really
All
matters
right.
at the end of the day.
Now, obviously, we're going to get back to the Super Bowl folks, but there's a couple other things that happened this week, and even in the later stages of the last week that we're going to get to tonight. And I'm so excited about this first thing. You can see it on Sai's face. You can see it on Kenny's face, folks.
Oh, I love this.
There was some boxing at Madison Square Garden over the weekend. I believe it was Eddie Hearn and the five folks of the Zone who had some fisticuffs, if you will. And there was a gentleman by the name of Jarrell Big Baby Miller, who I now have listed below here as Jarrell Don Flamenco Jr. Or Miller, not Jr., Don Flamenco Miller.
He's a junior now? I didn't know that.
Which, if you're familiar with Punch Out, you're gonna understand this reference. But he was the second fight, I believe it was a heavyweight fight that he did win for the record, 10 rounds split decision in Madison Square Garden. But he made international headlines, quite frankly, for something that happened in the second round, Kenny. And I want you to describe to me what's wrong with this picture. What?
Well, I mean,
What-
if we're talking,
What happened?
it's kind of hard to tell from the picture. I'm not really sure, but it looks like his hair's falling off. Apparently
What?
he had a hairpiece. And
No.
the story I heard was that he used his mother's shampoo and apparently was hair remover before that. And so he came up with this hairpiece idea looks very last second to me. And clearly it's messing with his aerodynamics, quite frankly. So yeah, doesn't look quite right to me.
You see, I never even thought of the aerodynamic point. Somehow it did not hurt him. Again, he won this fight, split decision. I don't have
power through. You got to power through.
I mean, I would like, did the power through lead to the hairpiece completely falling off? Maybe. But we're going to call a win a win. It might have taken him 10 rounds. He might have lost all the hair. Might not look too hot at the end, personally. Because, like, if you leave, like, Jack, can you put the picture back up for me, please? I need to, like, we're going to deep dive. You see that? You see, like, the little bit of outline of hair he has? Like, that's not a good look.
No.
Like, I'm just imagining that the piece fully off, like he don't look great. I mean, real shiny on top of the head. I mean, you look at the guy to his left. I mean, hey, that's a ball man that looks all right. And then you got a wannabe ball man on the right, who I mean was a bald going into it, but was definitely bald going out of it. But man, never seen that ever. Never seen that ever. And that's just it's a beauty, really, really a beauty. Don't know how else to say it.
One embraces the bald and one doesn't. That's textbook right there.
Somehow the guy who embraced the ball did not win the fight. So, again, life's not fair, folks, and I feel like that's probably your.
An American tragedy.
It is. Yes, it's a great way to put it, Kenny. I'm glad.
And Madison Square Garden out of anywhere.
Madison Square Garden.
Could have been anywhere else. It had to be in the big
Bruno
old
San
MSG.
Martino, the house of Bruno built. Unbelievable.
And the house of Jarrell, Don Flamenco, Miller.
Unbelievable. What a
Put
hero.
the banner up. Put the hair up in the rafter. Honestly, like if I had
Put the hairpiece up in the rafter.
if I was that guy, I am glove on, hair, rafters, ASAP. No one's gonna know, but we're gonna know.
I was seeing some pictures after the fact. I don't have them like in our overlay, but they're like passing like the hairpiece around and like just random people in the audience were just putting it on and take pictures with it, which is unbelievable that was the case. But again, we have to talk again. I think it's gone completely under the radar. We were talking about this pre-show side. I didn't know he won the fight.
That makes it crazier.
We went live.
That makes it crazier.
He won the fight.
10 rounds split decision, and this happened in the second round, which means for the numbers guys out there, he won 7 rounds bald. He went more rounds bald than with the hairpiece on.
Yeah. Yep.
And he won. He
Unbelievable.
beat an actual bald guy. Maybe, hear me out, losing the hairpiece led to the win. Hear me out.
Let's see, like, if I'm losing my hairpiece, I need to go for the knockout now because I want to get out of there as quickly as possible.
Well,
So the
my
fact
hairpiece
that
is fake.
the fight that it dragged on for the additional rounds, like, come on now, I'd be throwing some haymakers. I got to get out of there, especially MSG. I got to leave. Like, I'm throwing some haymakers, trying to knock it, trying to finish the fight. That's kudos for him for standing in the ring for that long, looking like that.
Round of applause.
Let me bring this up. You guys remember the one fighter who, like in 2018, the second the fight started, he just got out of the ring and just went back up the stage? What if he did that?
Yeah, right.
What if he just
Like,
did that? Would anyone have blamed him for that?
I'm done.
I mean,
Yeah. He puts
the
on like a
fighter in
bowler
him
hat,
who
like a
still wants to
1930s style
win.
bowler hat, and just leaves. Gets like a trench coat.
Like, I'm done. I'm out of here. But no,
It's like it's the end of Casablanca.
Right.
That'd be incredible.
there's
but
a
no,
world where that could have happened, but there's also the world that we saw where, at the end of the day, he's an athlete, he's a fighter, and he's there to prove something. Unfortunately, that meant the hairpiece had to go, but I think that it would have been worse on his name if he lost. You're telling me you lost your hairpiece and you lost the fight? At least you won. Like, that has to mean something.
Yeah.
And it became a household name. Like, you're telling me that you got fans sitting in the front row who paid a lot of money to be there are modeling your hairpiece. It's gotta mean something.
Now, I
Yeah,
will
so-
bring this up. Yeah, former kickboxer, by the way, used to fight in K1. He's now 30-1 as a boxer. 30-1 for his
Impressive.
career.
Crazy.
Listen,
Crazy.
he's going for who's buddy from Ukraine that's really good. Not Lomachenko.
I'm not a fighter guy, so I couldn't tell you.
Kenny, you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, but the name's eluding me right now. Starts with a K,
He
right?
just unified like a bunch of heavyweight belts, like last quarter of last year. Pretty sure.
I couldn't tell you.
Man, I
Is
wish
it
I knew more about boxing.
Klitschko? Klitschko, Usyk.
Yeah, Klitschko. Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
But man, I'm so glad we talked about that. I saw that last Saturday. I'm like, yep, I know what we're starting off with next
Yeah,
week.
I totally missed it. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. That was unique.
This was the best
Was it
pre-show
perseverance?
conversation we've had in a long time.
That's what makes America great. Persevering through personal tragedy like that. And listen, I hope it gets a good refund on the hairpiece that clearly was a defect. And
Also
yeah, I hope
hope he
everyone
tells
moves
it-
on.
I also hope he
I
doesn't
mean,
use
our
mom's
hair
shampoo
pieces
again.
Are hair pieces rated for full contact getting punched in the face though? I mean, I don't know.
Maybe it
I
takes
don't
a
know if
little
that's
time
in the warranty.
You see, the problem now that I'm running the StreamYards, I have an incredible lack of self-restraint, but I'm somehow not going to throw it to our friend Jeff Fortepney just yet. I feel like that would have been the part. Tell me, am I wrong to say that would have been the perfect
Personally,
time?
as someone who's ran the stream right before, I would have done it. I would have
I
been
would
like,
love to know.
and on top of that, someone who can assure you on some hair pieces,
Right.
Jeff Fortepney. Boom, run
I'm
the
gonna hear
ad.
from Jeff Fortepney about the hairpiece insurance front. But we're gonna move on. Speaking of moving on, there were a number of guys in the NBA moving on this week to new teams.
What a transition.
Yeah.
Big, not as big as last year. Obviously, there wasn't like a Luka Doncic level trade, but there were a couple of more notable trades. And I know Cy was talking to me about this earlier. The Anthony Davis to Washington trade, which kind of, in theory, links to the Luka trade. And obviously, I can kind of respect a team like the Wizards just being like, we're just going to try to get a couple of like bigger names and to see what happens. Because again, that now they have Davis and Trae Young, and then move a ton of different players and picks. And I forget who they drafted 2 years ago. It wasn't Alex Sarr, was it?
It was Alex Sarr.
It was Alex Sarr. So
And
it's
he's
like,
awesome.
yeah. So now, like, at least like you're throwing things at the wall, and like for a team that hasn't really done much since like the John Wall, like the peak of John Wall, like I kind of respect it. Like, is it gonna work? Probably not. But
You traded for a
if you're
top
a team
70
like
guy.
that, like a team that's kind of a bottom feeder, and you just feel like let's just try throwing stuff at the wall and see what happens. I can respect that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. There's a ton of trades that happen. The Wizards being kind of like I said, like you said, it's an impressive move on their part to go after that. Probably not going to work in a million years. I think. I wouldn't say Davis is past his prime. Again, not being a huge basketball fan, but it just seems like he's been injury ridden, or there's been
Yeah.
this issue or that issue, a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of a mental thing going on there. So valiant effort, big name, right? That's one of the most recognizable names in basketball. I know I have at least three Davis jerseys right now, but still, like it's just not.
Dang, jersey collection
I don't
guy.
think it's. I don't think it's the right move. I think it's a move. It's a whatever, but I don't think it's the move that's gonna catapult the Wizards back into any sort of contention.
So I have the full trade in front of me. So Washington here got Davis, Dante Exum, who has done me wonders in the past in 2K franchise. D'Angelo Russell and Jaden Harvey. The Mavericks in this deal ended up getting a couple of firsts, a 2026 first, then a 2030 first. That's not the crazy thing about the NBA that
So
every
I want to
time this gets
allude.
brought up, like the idea to do this trade first that are like a decade in
Years
advance, like the funniest thing to
years
me.
out.
Like that,
So
like the Earth could be disintegrated for all we know by then. It's like who
it
Where,
cares?
is.
where's your ROI on that one?
It's not there.
It's like Shohei getting like all the deferral. It's like the Earth might not even exist by the time that all that's due.
Can't give you money if we don't exist. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, but I don't hate that for the Wizards. Honestly, I don't really hate it for the Mavs either, just to kind of wash away the return of the Luka deal and just kind of move on as best as you possibly could. Obviously, the fans aren't going to be like let it go that anytime soon. But if you're the front office, it's like
They got fleeced a year ago, so
fans are clean.
So
I was the old guy, I wasn't us.
I would love to. I want to talk about this a little bit because as someone who is living in the Dallas Fort Worth area, who broke the news to some diehard Mavs fans when it happened, um, let's just say the Maverick people down here, they're not happy. They're very actually upset because you gave up Luca for at this point.
Nothing.
Max, it was they gave up Luca for Max Christie and unprotected
Chris
first,
Middleton.
and I think 2029, and then they trade. You look at the deal like blanket statement. You're like, oh, you got two first round picks, you got some second rounders, you got some guys, you got Chris Middleton, who's
Yeah, I got Marvin Bagley. You're the
you
go.
got Marvin Bagley, who I mean, if we're gonna look at 2K ratings, he's like a 2.5 star, 3 star. Like that's some value. But my issue is I look at the picks. The pick they got this year is the 2026 pick from the Thunder, I
Which was
believe.
essentially a second round pick.
That's gonna be 30. And then the pick they got 2030 from the Warriors is top 20 protected.
Yeah,
You got
exactly.
two late first round picks for an injury ridden Anthony Davis, who yes, top 75 player of all time. Like we all know what Anthony Davis has done. But then you remember you traded away Luca for this. Which
And
just
did he get
which
hurt?
did,
Like this is literally his first game as a Mav. He got hurt.
pretty much.
yeah, yep.
So, but then it's like, okay, but you got Cooper Flag out of it, and like that's everybody's like caveats. Like, okay, if this didn't happen, Cooper Flag would not be in Dallas, and Cooper Flag has dropped like 4 straight 30-point games at this point. They've lost all four, but Cooper's still awesome. Cooper's great, but it's just like you got something for him, cool, but it's like what could have been.
Shout out to Maine. Great state, great vacation state. Shout out Cooper Flag. Maybe the greatest thing to ever come out of Maine, quite frankly. But nevertheless, the second trade that I wanted to get into, and this one was really funny to me. This one was so funny. So, in the NBA, there's teams that you think might not be at that championship caliber, but internally they might be saying, "Hey, there's maybe one move we can make that might be able to get us over the hump." One of those teams was the Cleveland Cavaliers, who at some point in the last week were like, okay, we think we can probably move on from Darius Garland. We think we can maybe get something for him to try to maximize what we can do this year, with Donovan Mitchell at the helm. And for some reason, someone in that room, I don't know who, but it was clearly someone was like, what about James Harden? And no one objected? No one objected. Again, your objective seemingly is to win a championship.
and we want James
And you
Harden.
trade for a guy who has been
If you're the Cavs.
a puddle
That's
in the
just
postseason
sad.
his entire fucking career. Someone explain this to me.
I think
can
that's
explain. I can explain
Go
a
ahead.
little bit. So Monday night, James Harden officially is like. There's been rumors about it for a couple days before him, but James Harden's officially like, all right, Clippers suck. I'm not happy. We don't even know our
James
first
Harden
round.
not happy?
James Harden not happy. I know, crazy world we're living in. James Harden not happy. Requested out. He was willing to work with the front office to get something done. He wanted to go to a team that is in winning caliber. Because keep in mind, not Celtics. Whoa, we'll get there. We'll get there. Clippers, below 500 team. They have not looked very good all year.
Listen, they ran Chris Paul out of town and ended his career. They'll always have that entire court. That was very funny.
Did. They don't have their first round pick this year. For those who remember, the defending champions, Oklahoma City Thunder, have their first round pick. Yeah, the best team in the league has one of the worst teams in the league first round pick. Crazy world we live in. So he's like, yeah, I'm done. I want out. Not even 24 hours later, he's in Cleveland. Rumors came out pretty quickly. They're like, okay, like two sides are interested. Cleveland wants to win now. They weren't super happy with Garland's play, which is crazy because I'm taking Darius Garland over James Harden.
100%.
100%. One is younger.
James Harden's a losing basketball player. You don't win with guys like James Harden.
No.
In any sport.
No.
Literally,
But
you do not win with guys like James Harden with that kind of character, that kind of postseason performance, that kind of defense. You don't fucking win with guys like James Harden.
You don't.
There's like a decade of evidence that point you to this conclusion.
But he has a winning beard. Like the beard wins. Like that's enough.
Coming
like,
from a guy with a beard, that's a great take.
I would take Harden in his beard. Like
I think you would know.
I would take Brian Wilson in the Giants. I just the beards win.
Sai, who's the buddy that does the pregame for the Mavericks? It was like, you're the problem.
Ooh, I can't
What's
give
his
you
name?
a name. I can't give you a name. I'm not in the Mavs like that, guys. I'm not a Mavs fan. Okay, I just live in the area.
You're just in the DFW.
I am just in the DFW area, but
that guy's
I don't care for that. But I do. I know. I've seen that clip. I know what you're talking about, and he wasn't wrong. But then it's like, so, and this is my craziest thing about this trade. It was a 1-for-1 swap, and they swapped second round picks, and that's what got the deal done.
1 second. Like
that's crazy.
And it was a swap of their own second round picks from this year.
Yes.
Like a 10-spot difference, maybe.
Like, I can totally understand being like,
crazy.
You don't really want to give Darius Garland another contract. I don't know what his contract status is, to be quite frank.
I would have to look
You
it
just
up.
don't think that he fits in more long-term plans. Like, that I totally understand. Like, if you feel that way, do what you got to do.
They're trusting Donovan and James Harden and Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. In a wide open East, okay, like the logic is there. James Harden wanted to be there. Like you can't. There's some things you can't argue with.
James Harden's wanted to be at every single fucking team that's traded him. Do you not understand?
Just hasn't wanted to come to Chicago yet.
I understand. I really, really understand. But it's just the principle of all of it is just it's funny to me. That's the best way I can put it. It's funny. It's really funny. And when the Cavs get bounced in the first round this year, you know who everybody's going to look at? James the Beard, past his prime, Harden. See, I wasn't going to say the problem, but like, you said it for me. But no, it's interesting deal. Great for the Clippers. Not going to lie to you. They realized very clearly that it's not their window. It's not their time. They can't do it. They traded two of their three best players.
Is it ever the Clippers window? Like, I mean, they're just...
No.
I'll never forget thinking about that. They were like the next
second tier franchise.
Like once they
they're the little brother of the Lakers. Sorry, guys.
Even the year before they got Kawhi, I'm like, this seems like next up.
New stadium, their new stadium's awesome. Love Intuit Dome.
They got him.
Great stadium. Nothing else is good.
And then it all went downhill. Pandemic happened, it all went downhill.
And then why you get trades in offseason and everybody's like, wow, that's crazy.
Those new Clipper uniforms are good.
Nikola Vucevic, I don't know if Bruce is in the chat. We took it. We'll take good care of him. You guys are like Anthony.
Free Luka Garza. You're taking away the men's Kata and Luka Garza minutes. Free him.
No,
Free
I
him.
promise you no. Like-
Vooch is a veteran on an expiring deal who can maybe rebound the ball occasionally and get you about 2 corner threes a game. That's all you can ask for.
Like that trade to me is like the clearest indication that Tatum's playing this season. Like the clearest indication that he's playing this season. Which yeah, I don't have any like if you want to bring in a rental big, just say, hey, who knows what happens? We get Tatum back, and if he's even like 80%.
And you trade away Anthony Simons in the deal too, which frees up space.
And Simons was always going to be this. He was always going to be like a trade piece that like maybe it works out, but ultimately he was going to be a piece to hopefully trade and maybe get you out of some tax aprons, which they did do. They traded him and then they traded Xavier Tillman, and I think they got out of the first apron. Like they're completely out of the lottery tax now.
The Tillman deals will got them out. Barely, but they're out.
One last big deal, bring up Jaren Jackson Jr. To the Jazz. That was a huge. I think that was like 4 first rounders or something like that.
3.
Correct me if I think it was like a total of 8 first rounders the Grizzlies got for him and Desmond Bane combined.
Yes, something like because they got more. They got like 1 or 2 more for Desmond Bane. They only got, if I remember correctly, they only got 3, and then they got like 2 or 3 second round picks, and then each team swapped like 4 players for each side. Which then a few players who ended up being rerouted to other teams. I think it was like Jock Landale is one of the big ones that ended up getting rerouted somewhere else. That was a fascinating deal, but that showed that like, so they were looking to trade Ja. No team gave a serious offer, but they're like, okay, like they're clearly like we don't. Yeah, I want to give a serious offer of Ja Morant either. Sorry, he's a Murray State guy. Murray State doesn't even exist. Sue me. But they saw that they realized, which kudos to Memphis. Crazy thing decided just to say that out loud. But they realized their window was up. They realized that like, okay, like the core that we had, like the Jaw, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson, who loved Jaren Jackson, former All-Star.
Jaren Jackson's incredible.
Like stud.
Yeah.
And it's more crazy. This shit, Danny Ainge. And all over there in old Salt Lake City said, you know what? I don't want to be bad anymore. They're gonna suck the rest of the year. They're gonna get a good pick, but it's like, okay, we have Ace Bailey, we have Keontae George, they have Lauri Markkanen still. They still have Walker Kessler, who I don't remember which team was. I think the Celtics were looking to trade a couple of first rounders for him, and Utah was like, nah, I'm good. And then they have Jaren Jackson. Like they got some guys over there. They still suck this year. They're gonna suck this year. They're gonna get a good first round pick next year in a loaded draft class. But they're done. They don't want to be the bottom feeders of the West anymore. They see an opportunity, so they're gonna try to go compete. And Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to be. I'm not gonna say the centerpiece because ideally that's gonna be Ace Bailey.
Yeah, like
but he's going to be
the third most important player.
Yes, 100,000%.
Can Jaren Jackson hypothetically be like a number 2 or number 3 on a title winner? Probably.
Yes.
I think if there's around
I would, as a power forward, if I need a power forward on like, if I knew like I'm in a need for like a reliable power forward who can give me good defense, but then can drop 20, 25 points here and there, I want Jaren Jackson Jr. all day of the week. If you surround him with a good group of guys, which he's bringing to you this year in Memphis in particular, he's not surrounded with a good group of guys. Get him in a good place, give him a good coaching staff. I'm not saying Utah's a good coaching staff. I'm still kind of torn on that. But surround him with some good pieces and make it very clear to him that you do not have to be the guy, but give him a game or 2 here and there where he's like, okay, like he can drop 25 and 12. He can also do like 8 and 11 and with like 4 or 5 assists. Like he'll give you the full spectrum, but he can't be the guy.
Now, with all these guys, as well as I believe Kristaps Porzingis who went to the Warriors, they're all going to be moving around. They're probably going to need some, home insurance for wherever they get to their new spots.
New destinations.
Can I introduce you to our friend Jeff Retepny and the folks over at Building Block Insurance Group real quick? See what they got for us.
Erie Insurance says here's to the grown-ups who move, mortgage, mow, and still bust a move. But does your home insurance still fit? Erie helps you protect the home you've grown into, all at fair prices that are often less than the other guys. So how do you find the right coverage? Magic. Nope. Local independent agents who get to know you like this.
Your local Erie agent is Building Block Insurance Group. Get a quote today at 704-464-4544.
Erie Insurance.
I'm not even going to try to get the number off the first time. I'm definitely going to have it written down somewhere for next week. But shout out to our delegate.
I got us.
Shout out to Erie Insurance, Building Block Insurance Group, longtime sponsor of the program. Now, folks, we're going to be moving on to last night's NFL honors ceremony, which, of course, you got your AP awards, you got the new Hall of Fame class, and obviously there was a number of just crazy bloopers. I know it was a Drewski blooper with JSN. There was the Mike Vrabel blooper, which who was that? Who announced him for Coach of the Year? I don't remember her name, but she royally messed it up, which I felt kind of bad for. But it is what it is. I guess where do you guys want to start? You want to start with the Hall of Fame class, or you want to start with the awards?
I'm going to be better with rewards. So let's start with the Hall of Fame class because I don't really, personally, I don't have a whole lot to say here.
All right, so the Hall of Fame, only a 5-person class this year, of course.
Shout out Drew Brees. That's all I'll say. And shout
Of
out
course, Bill Belichick was not a big story last week, but this is still a very, very good class, folks. Let's make no mistake about that. Of course, your headliner is Drew Brees, of course, iconic quarterback for the Saints. Joining him, of course, will be Larry Fitzgerald, for my money, one of the 5 best receivers to ever play the game. Roger Craig, a guy synonymous with the San Francisco 49ers. You can't really tell the story of that franchise without him. Luke Kuechly, who I would argue is one of the 3 best linebackers to ever play the game.
I remember Luke Kuechly.
Luke Kuechly was unbelievable. And the undisputed best kicker ever, Adam Vinatieri, making it up the second ballot.
Go.
I'm kind of I can't really say I'm stunned that he missed on the first ballot because, it's this voting group.
It's the position.
Yeah, exactly.
Kicker.
Like, I hate the idea that, like, we have a Hall of Fame and it's like we're going to discount or discredit a third of the game just because. But, I mean, if you want to do you can't tell the story of this sport without X player argument. You can't do it with Adam Vinatieri. You literally cannot tell the story of the NFL without Adam Vinatieri.
No.
He made the 2 biggest kicks in the history of the league, bar none. And obviously won 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah. Yeah. Arguably, I mean, are the Patriots without Vinatieri? That's the question, right? Because he had those game-winning field goals in the Super Bowls. It becomes a real question of, who, obviously, like you said, right, it's a third of the game, and obviously the other 2 phases have to do their part, but at the end of the game, he's the one kicking that game-winning field goal. He's the one putting the icing on the cake, so to speak. So, Vinatieri definitely deserves it.
He's the one they trust.
I'm just going through this. I'm surprised. He was only first-team All-Pro 3 times in his entire career, Vinatieri. That feels crazy.
That does feel kind of crazy.
It does.
2002, 2004, 2014, and those are the only 3 years he ever made the Pro Bowl.
Did he ever get stumped for other kickers though, for the All-Pro team, or no?
I imagine so, but that just feels like crazy. No, obviously, of course, he was.
So like all Americans have it listed in college for each position, right? So you have an All-American center, you have an All-American tackle. So I wasn't sure if the All-Pro team also went by position too. That would seem crazy that Vinatieri gets looked at. I mean, I guess you have Tucker for a little bit there, but I mean, overall, Vinatieri should be the AFC guy for sure.
What about Buddy from the Raiders?
Janikowski, Sebastian Janikowski.
Yeah, he probably. I imagine Janikowski probably kind of sniped him a little bit in the end of the 2000s, beginning of the 2010s.
Yeah.
Who else? Not like that mid 2000s. Like who was
Jason Elam, maybe the kicker from Denver.
Maybe. That's not a bad shout.
Yeah, that's tough. It's tough.
And I'll bring this point up just before we move on to the awards. Obviously, a lot of big time first ballot guys next year. Obviously, guys like Rob Gronkowski, Ben Roethlisberger, Adrian Peterson. Dante Hightower, who listen, if Dante Hightower is not in the Hall of Fame, I'm going into that room. I'll poison the water supply. I promise you. He's
I
been
think
my
he gets there eventually. I don't think he's the first ballot.
That's his day one right there.
day one. He has been my my Twitter profile picture the entire length of having that account open.
Yes,
Probably my favorite Patriot of all time, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Can't argue with that.
I'm in the fight this weekend, but it's neither here nor there. I believe there was even some guys who didn't make it this year that are potentially going to be in next year. I think Jarrell Suggs is probably the biggest of those guys who on the first ballot this year but did not make it in.
Yeah, that was a tough one. That was a tough one.
Like what? Andrew Whitworth's another guy in the first ballot this year. I imagine he gets in. No questions asked.
Yeah, if not next year, the year after. It kind of like kickers, the offensive big boys. That's kind of harder to get them in because they don't get the love. There isn't the same statistics, right? There isn't even a stat line really for them. Like they don't count pancake blocks, they don't count 6-point blocks. It's a totally different ball game. So.
In my America, we'll get that. We'll talk to the folks at Next Gen Stats a second again in the White House.
Give me a pancake stat. Like that would make
Right?
That would make my life so. Because imagine being able to tweet out that one guy had 7 pancakes in a game. Like that's gotta mean something.
That would be outrageous. That'd be like your MVP of the league.
You can't talk about your quarterback throwing for 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, and not talk about your dog of an offensive lineman that's got 7 pancakes. Like
7 pancakes, 0 pressures,
0 pressures. Yeah, some Will Campbell
touchdown runs, open
block for him. Like guys.
Yeah,
there's a
world. The linemen don't get the love. The offensive linemen, the defensive linemen, you have those sacks, right?
The linemen
get the sacks, forced fumbles, even the occasional interception from those big boys. I mean, you're not getting
those tackles get more love than any.
I really wish I had the
Warren Sapp.
Right about now. I would have played that.
Raji, man.
But, I'll give you one more name who's on the ballot for the first time next year. No, so I'll let you guys sit on that. Antonio Brown on the ballot for the very first time.
No.
In theory, I think he is. In practice,
because if Antonio Brown gets in the first ballot with some other respectable gentlemen who haven't, emphasis on the respectful part, no.
It's entirely possible that he's blacklisted too, but he's just shunned.
Yeah, and if he's blacklisted,
I imagine he probably
if he's
will.
blacklisted, we're gonna hear about it on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, right away.
That's
Oh, without a doubt.
Hashtag CTESPN is can. I'm not gonna say cannot, because I know especially if it's this certain group of fellows who are voting people in. There's a world. I won't say anything bad about that, but no,
doesn't happen.
But also,
right,
then again, does Roethlisberger get in with or without Antonio Brown? Real question.
Yeah. I think so because he had a lot more talent around him pretty much his entire career. You talk about guys like Hines Ward, only handing the ball off to Jerome Bettis, but he had quite an offense with him throughout his career. I don't think he was completely reliant on guys like Antonio Brown. It helped, especially in the latter half, but he had enough talent around him in the first half of his career. I don't think he needs the Brown stats necessarily.
Every trip out of the ASC to Bernard Pollard, Jake Plummer, and Mark Sanchez. Anyway, we're gonna move on to the awards, and we're gonna start off with the assistant coach of the year, who regrettably was Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniel. I understand from our live studio audience it's not a popular win, but it happens. He didn't call a ton of screens this year, which made my life tremendously better. And
he finally learned.
He finally learned that calling screens at all 11 guys on the defensive side of the ball could call out the second they break the huddle. And he's like, oh, I probably shouldn't do that anymore. And he didn't really do it this year, to his credit. Realistically, I think this probably should have been Brian Flores, but obviously I think I'm on my own island there at this point. He did finish third, I believe, behind Vance Joseph. If I'm not mistaken. I think it was the top 3 was McDaniels, Vance Joseph, Brian Flores, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Free Vance. That's all
right,
I'm going to say that. Free Vance.
All right, next up we have Offensive Rookie of the Year. This one was not super close if my memory serves correct. This was Ted McMillan.
Dog.
Who admittedly, I was not a big Ted McMillan guy coming out of Arizona. I did a scouting report on him over on ThirdDownThursdays.com. By the way, link in the description. I came out with a couple of reports this week. Peter Woods and Caden Proctor. Cheap plug, but nevertheless, Ted was not a guy I was super high on. I was lower on consensus than him, but he had a tremendous rookie year. I don't think there was really any argument for anyone else outside of maybe Gray Zabel from the Seahawks.
But again, offensive lineman, rookie of the year. That's not happening.
Yeah, exactly. That's not going to happen. But I believe I think he ended up getting a vote. I think Travion Henderson got a vote or two. Egbuka, who had the really, really good start.
If Egbuka stayed consistent, that's
yeah.
But
yeah, and if he stayed healthy, I think he would have won it.
All year, that was Ted's only real competition, for better or for worse terms. If Travion played all year, maybe we would see something different. But
yeah, I almost think that the Patriots underutilized Travion Henderson a little bit. I know he struggled to getting through the line and stuff like that. But the style of running back that he is, I don't know if the Patriots were ready for that style of running back and had a proper game plan for him yet. Hopefully they figure that out soon for him, because he's electric. When he's able to find the gaps, when he's able to run through those lines, he's electric. And Egbuka too. Egbuka, if everything happened wrong to the Buccaneers, they had a tremendous first half, horrible second half of the season. If they could have kept things in,
and Todd Bowles kept his job. Crazy.
Yeah. Right. And so Egbuka probably could have easily won that rookie of the year, but it goes to the kid from Arizona. No complaints there. He's a good kid. Also not very high on him either coming out into the draft. I forget where I had him in terms of receivers. I think I had him like 5th or 6th even.
He was my number 2. I had Gold and I had him.
Oh, he was 2. Okay. I had him a little bit lower if I remember correctly.
I'm not counting Hunter. Hunter to me was a completely different thing.
Yeah, true. Very true. But good for him. Glad he was able to demonstrate and show out and, prove everybody wrong. Good on him.
Yeah, good for him. We'll never really feel ashamed to admit I was wrong. I was wrong about Ted McMillan. Hands up.
Yeah.
I took Emeka Okafor and Karan Butler. They were not bad. And yeah, he was excellent. Now, defensive rookie of the year. This one was not even close, and rightfully so. This went to Browns rookie linebacker Carson Swessinger out of UCLA, who was
dog.
I would argue he's already a top 10 linebacker in the sport at this point.
Wow.
He was tremendous this year.
Quietly, the fact that we can talk bad about the Browns all we want, but the fact that they walked out of last year's draft with Quinshon Judkins, who
obviously had some legit
if
off-field
healthy all year, could have knocked on the door for the offensive rookie of the year. They got Harold Fannin, friend of the program. Love that man so much. Quietly, 800 yards, multiple, I think 7 receiving touchdowns. And
that sounds about right.
And then I'm not going to talk about either of the quarterbacks outside of Dylan Gabriel. You deserve better.
That he was their worst pick. If I'm not mistaken, I give him
no. Shedeur is the worst pick. I'm ready to argue with that. The fact that he's a Pro Bowler. I guess he had no one else to put.
Only because the head coach didn't want him, right? That's why.
And now the head coach is in Atlanta.
But overall, if you're going to project career wise, I think Dylan Gabriel does worse than Shedeur career wise.
Okay.
I don't see the height out of Dylan. I don't see the arm just isn't quite there. He was, yes, impressive in college. Yes, very impressive at Oregon. But overall, I don't see the longevity of that kind of quarterback. And especially I just don't trust lefty quarterbacks. Can't do it.
I was going to say, he's because he's a lefty.
Hold on.
I do. I knew he was going to say that. It's okay. Just wait. He's going to be great. Just wait.
I hope so, because I don't mind him. I think he's a great human being.
Even with his small hands.
Yeah.
Even with his small hands. I've zapped Dylan Gabriel up. And I can't confirm the hands are below average. But it's okay. It's all right. He's a lefty. Everybody because he's
that's
where
I draw the line.
I feel personally attacked
because he's different enough like that. People are going to care.
No. Lefties in hockey all-stars, right? Highest
Lefties in
caliber players are
football?
Left shot
lefties.
defenseman.
No.
Lefties in football, no. Especially at the quarterback position. I'm sorry, you can't do it. It's unnatural. Um,
Man, just wait till y'all start
it's
hearing
like
my Cole Young propaganda.
I feel like I'm in the
Y'all ain't gonna like
1950s
that.
in boxers. Like you just don't trust a lefty boxer. You don't trust a lefty quarterback. You can't do it. Lefty quarterbacks
But you can trust a lefty baseball player.
and oh, 100%.
Oh, you can trust a southpaw.
Yes. You
Anyway.
have to.
Next.
Next
Continue.
up, Offensive Player of the Year. This one was close, like 50 points, which actually isn't a ton in theory. Separated these two, Jackson Smith and Jigba winning Opoy over Christian McCaffrey. JSN getting 14 first place votes to McCaffrey's 12. Puka Nacua got 8, in case you were wondering.
No.
I think that they got it right. There was not a better pass catcher in the league this year, 10 plus yards downfield than JSN. And he had like 300 more yards than Nacua did on those kind of targets of like air yards, like 10 plus air yards down the.
Those Ohio State receivers are built different, I'm going to tell you.
There it is.
There
it is.
My vote here probably would have been Bijan Robinson, but I think there were like 5 guys who had a good case for Opoy. So I'm not really like up in arms over.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it interesting is when you start saying there's many people that can be a part of that conversation, and you like that, you like that parity in the league, and obviously with the skill positions, I think right now receivers have the edge in terms of being able to win Player of the Year just because they're a little bit more showy, they're a little bit more flash, and so the substance of the running backs that needs to carry over a lot more than it typically does. And so a guy like JSN can easily kind of run away with it, or not easily run away with it, but come away.
His case was out of everybody. His case was the strongest. Like he had 1,700 receiving yards, if I remember correctly. Like that's insane.
I think it was 1,703.
Yeah.
And look at the quarterback that was throwing it to him, right? A game managing quarterback that was almost out of the league 3 years ago.
Okay.
So I'm going to say that based on what he had to throw at him and what he was able to do with that, I think that kind of proves the point.
Okay.
I'll throw in another guy who I thought had a case. He didn't get any votes, but I'm kind of surprised he didn't actually. Trey McBride from the Cardinals, who had a excellent year at the tight end position. I imagine Tucker Kraft probably would have been in that conversation as well had he not torn his ACL. And for all the talk of all these pass catchers, quarterbacks ended up getting a vote. Specifically, Drake May got 5 first place votes. And I got a quarterback has won Opoy before. Cam Newton, the year he won MVP, also won Opoy. So that's not completely unprecedented. It can happen. It has happened in the past. So definitely something to keep in mind for down the line. If you get a guy like Jaden Daniels, who has like a really good year on the ground and through the air, I wouldn't discount a guy like that ever winning it again. But yeah.
Yeah, like a Caleb Williams type, maybe, if they get things right in Chicago again, if they catch lightning there.
Exactly.
Biggest.
Okay, now we get to the biggest no-brainer of the entire evening, Defensive Player of the Year. All 50 votes went to one guy, and shocker, it was Myles Garrett, who ends up taking home his second DPOY of his career.
Sounds about right.
Monster.
There was no argument for legitimately anyone else in the league. No one.
There never was.
No.
Even if he didn't bring
not the year he had.
It would have been an argument.
Yeah, on the team he was on too, we did all that.
I want to say he had 3 games of like 4.5 sacks at least.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy, right? Like Sai said, you would think that opposing offenses would have been able to game plan around that because really that was the best component of their defense, and he was still able to beat double teams, still able to beat chip blocks, still able to get to the quarterback, impose his will on anything that moved. Yeah, it was a very impressive year for Myles Garrett. Very, and it's just sad that he's in Cleveland. He's wasting away there. He should be on a real contender. Come to Chicago.
Him and Schweitzer held down that defense quietly. They won 4 games. They won 4 games.
In fairness, he also willingly signed the $40 million a year extension to stay there. So it's like, how bad can you really feel?
And he willingly has already come out and said that he still wants to be there.
Like, I understand the sentiment of wanting him to play on a better team, but
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the
I
guy.
appreciate the loyalty. And then on the flip side, right now you get guys like Max Crosby, who's like, nope, I'm done. I'm done in Vegas. Find me a new spot. And they're talking all sorts of crazy. Is he coming back to Michigan and going to Detroit? Is he coming to Chicago? So it's really, I like that idea where you have loyalty for Myles Garrett. Yeah. He's not coming to Chicago, by the way. That's just what some crazy people in our city think.
Yeah,
I actually could see
definitely-
that. I actually could see
definitely
that.
crazy.
That's not like completely out of the realm of
Him and
possibility.
Montez Sweat, no, thank you.
I could actually.
I don't see it. I
I
don't see
could.
the
I'll
way
go
Sorry, guys. The Bears like
Chicago.
Austin Baker
I
a
could
lot
actually
more
see
than
Chicago.
Max Crosby.
Make sense.
Sorry, guys. Thought y'all knew.
All right, 3 awards to go. We're going to go to the Protector of the Year. Kind of a surprise winner. Not in a bad way, but in a good way. Likely future Hall of Fame guard Joe Thuney. Now the Chicago Bears takes home the first ever Protector Award. Obviously, multiple-time Super Bowl champion from his time with the Patriots and with the Chiefs. A huge part. I think Kenny can elaborate on this a little more. With the Bears this year and their rebound up front.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. So you look at a guy like Tooney, he was brought in specifically to anchor the offensive line, brought in for his experience, for his veteran leadership, and then to have the year that he had keeping Caleb Williams upright. If I remember correctly, he even moved to tackle for a few games when the Bears were dealing with some injuries. So again, that's testament to his abilities, to his fortitude. And really, I don't, you look around the league and you see, yeah, there's a bunch of young linemen out there. But I think for the first Protector of the Year, I think you kind of have to give it to that veteran presence. And I can't think of anybody better than Tooney at that. I think he just did a fantastic job. And the leadership skills too there. Like they're setting something up finally. You go back to when I was a kid, 20 years ago, I've been complaining about the Bears offensive line for over 20 years. And finally I'm almost super proud of this offense and this offensive line. I think they did a terrific job, and Tooney deserves every accolade possible.
It's only fair to give some shout outs to the other finalists. Aaron Brewer from the Dolphins would have actually been my pick to win this award personally. He was tremendous for them. Obviously, I know it's not a sexy pick because he's on the Dolphins, but he was legitimately fantastic for them this year. Creed Humphrey, great every year. Not really much to say there. Same thing with Quinn Miners. And really same thing with Penei Sewell and Garrett Bowles. Garrett Bowles, runaway favorite to win the or not to win, but to get on to first team All-Pro left tackle this year. Not much else really to say there. He was tremendous. All these guys were tremendous. So shout out to the NFL for finally getting an offensive lineman award, long overdue. And excited to see the future of that award. I imagine you're probably going to see Penei Sewell win that. If I had to take a guess, probably multiple times over the next 5 years, if I had to take a bet on that. But
he's probably winning the first one next year too. And if it's gonna be like, okay, well, you got Tooney, you got Penei Sewell, and then like from there, it's like, okay, now anybody can have it.
Yeah, and you're gonna get guys like Joe Alt. You're gonna get Will Campbell eventually. I mean, there's a lot of young offensive line talent in this league, and there's even more coming through the draft in the next couple of years. I think the NFL hit. It took them too long to get to that Protector of the Year, but they hit it right at the right time where you're going to start seeing some exciting names, some exciting, maybe even hopefully merchandise sales out of these guys too. I still can't find a Will Campbell jersey, but I would love if the NFL would put one out.
I've seen them out in the wild. They do exist.
You have to customize it though, and I want the
customizer. Like that means you have to pay a little bit more for it. It's like, okay, like
yeah, and it's only print when it's customized like that, and yeah, it's a little different. That's my Sewell jersey, by the way. It's Prince and it's all that, but yeah, I want a stitched Campbell.
All right, we'll kind of briefly touch on comeback player of the year. This one was, quite frankly, not really a race. It was Christian McCaffrey, who was nearly won offensive player of the year. I don't really think that was even a debate.
No brainer.
Shout out to Phillip Rivers for playing, I think, like 2.5 games and getting a vote.
Yeah.
The sheer
there has to be like a better way
got
to
his benefits back for 5 more
year.
years, guys. Like it means something around here. It means something around here. And every time they go interview for the Buffalo Bills head coaching job, like it means something around here. It means something to us. He just wants to feed his kids, guys. All 24 of them.
Right, I was just saying you don't need to have 24 kids. That's a him problem, not a league problem.
That's him and his wife, brother. Him and his wife. Ain't none of my business.
Kudos to that, man. Kudos to
You
them.
can
Do what
get a
y'all gotta do.
vasectomy. You don't have to. Pretty sure the NFL insurance covers vasectomies too. Just saying.
Hey, at Phillip Rivers, tap in. We
Now,
got
you know who you can talk to? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
that
Could you imagine if we had that as an ad read?
would be good.
Be.
I got to talk to Bruce about that. We got to get that. Coach of the year. Speaking of guys who want to get some work done down there potentially, Mike Vrabel, a man who says he will how do I word this? Would cut off
Everything.
yes, that to win a Super Bowl. He won Coach of the Year for the Patriots.
There's no other way to put it. He would do
No other way to
anything.
put that.
And I would like the record to show it was closer than people thought. Liam Cohen was sneaky behind him in second, and there was not a lot of picks between them, which the Jaguars fan here love that because, I mean, look at it like this. Both teams went from 4 wins to 13 wins. One team made it far in the playoffs, and that's the guy who won. Can't argue with that. Really
yeah, but you're not talking about postseason success with these awards.
I know we're not talking about postseason success. I know that.
How far
But also,
was Ben Johnson even part of this conversation or no?
he had one first place vote.
I was actually going to bring that up, Kenny, because he only got one first place vote.
One.
He finished
Because we're talking about
voting, but he only got one first place vote.
Yeah, we're talking about turning around franchises. We're talking about coming into situations. I think, and I will agree that Vrabel, I think, had the tougher job. I think the way the Bears have done things the past couple off seasons, right? The off-season champions of the league the past 3 or 4 seasons. So the Bears make the right moves on paper, but turning the Chicago program around on the field, I think that was a monumental test. And maybe we wait a year or two to see how well the Ben Johnson era really, really gets to be.
Yeah.
So I am surprised that he only got one first place vote. That being said, Vrabel deserves every single accolade. I think he did a tremendous job coming into that situation in New England. And Jack, correct me if I'm wrong, but expectations were not super high this season. I think you guys were expecting to get better.
They were high, but they weren't like this high. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like they were like maybe making it as a wild card because you saw
weren't expecting to be
would be last year.
Okay, yeah. But the Bears were they were in shambles last year. They had no idea. I mean, Eberflus completely ruined any hopes of this team. So from that perspective,
Kenny, what more do you want?
Yeah, I know. I still love that clip from Hard Knocks where oh, it's the beard, and everybody in Chicago all of a sudden, no, his beard.
Yes, facial hair is a good coach now. That's how it works.
His facial hair.
Dick had facial hair.
His facial hair.
Listen, Dick, Eberflus, same thing.
Calling
I'm sure Eberflus had a good year this year with the Cowboys.
Yeah, right.
Worst defense in the league, by the way, and lost his job after a season.
Yeah,
Who would have thought?
Congratulations to Vrabel. I'm proud of him. Ohio State guy.
I really can't be that mad. I was happy it was close.
This is going to be shocking. My vote would have been the guy who finished last of the 5. That would have been Kyle Shanahan. I was talking about this last night with a couple of buddies. They lost like half of their roster.
Everything.
And they were almost the 1 seed in the NFC still, which is like insane.
Yeah.
Like, I've always been a Kyle Shanahan fan, as crazy as that sounds as a Patriots fan, but I've always liked him. I've always been a big Shanahan guy, and I thought this was as good of a feather in his cap as anything in his career so far as a coach.
I also think that speaks very highly to John Lynch and his GM abilities, right? Like he helped build that roster to where because we always hear right, next man up, and how often does that actually work? Almost never.
Almost never. But it worked with the 49ers.
So I think between Shanahan and Lynch, I think that was a tremendous job that they did over there in San Francisco. They really, I mean, they could be hosting the Super Bowl this weekend, but things didn't quite work out for them.
And but the 49ers, you can kind of take holes at like more of the higher end stuff in their drafts over the last 4 to 5 years, but like they have been able to find guys in some of those later rounds over the last, half dozen years. Talanoa Hufanga, D Winners, both Gaffney Scouting alum.
I was waiting for it. I do. First day, as soon as it Hufanga, I'm like, I know where this is going.
And even in the high rounds, they had a couple hits. Like Ricky Pearsall's been really good for them, and they also made a really good move, like a sneaky death move in the receiver room this offseason, or not this offseason, in training camp. They brought back Kendrick Bourne, and he was huge when they had to go back to Mac Jones, and that was basically like half their offense for those 4 or 5 weeks. And again, look at everyone they lost. Mykel Williams, their first rounder, he ended up going down, I think, in like week 11. You lose Nick Bosa.
Early.
I believe they lost Travarius Ward in free agency. They lost so much, and they were in play for the 1 seed.
Stouts playing meaningful football snaps. Western Kentucky Hilltopper himself. Talk about someone they drafted this year that ended up being like immensely valuable. That's the guy that I look at like on that defense right away. Ball player, just an absolute ball player.
Like Trent Williams in out of the lineup too. It's like the fact that they were in the position they were in was kind of crazy. I don't really hold that like the blowout loss of the Seahawks against them all that much.
Yeah, pretty.
Look at what they had by that point. They had nothing. Absolutely
Very true.
Nothing. But yeah, man, shout out to Kyle Shanahan. All right, one last ad break, and then we'll get into the big game at the end, if you will. And we're going to go back to
talk about the MVP
insurance, and they're going to tell you about getting some affordable rates on your car.
Here's to the grown-ups. Your car is now your office, stage, nursery. Erie Insurance offers products that lots of other companies don't. That's a big deal, and it's a good deal, too. And with Erie, you get your own independent agent, not a giant corporate call center or some online robot. You meet with a real person, like this.
Your local Erie agent is Building Block Insurance Group. Get a quote today at 704-464-4544.
Erie Insurance.
As always, shout out to our guy, Jeff Ritepney. Always. Literally always. All right, folks. It's now about that time. The superb hourly 60th edition, which you can catch on the National Broadcasting Corporation channel of sorts, if you will. 6:30 EST, 3:30 Pacific. Seahawks have kind of been stagnant as a 4.5-point favorite for pretty much this entire week. A lot of public money coming in on them. I believe it's about a 70-30 split the last time I checked. You just want to get straight into picks?
Yeah. Honestly.
All right, folks. A wise man by the name of Busta Rhymes famously once said, "You have to believe the delusion. Because it's only delusional until it works." So is it really delusion? Well, the Patriots are here. And spoiler, I'm going to be the homer that I am, and I'm picking the Patriots to win the Super Bowl. And the big reason, there is some logic in this pick. I think the biggest mismatch in this game, like by far and large, is the Patriots' defensive line versus the interior offensive line of the Seahawks. They are not particularly good at handling stunts and twists, which the Patriots do at a very, very high clip. They were not good 2 weeks ago against the Rams on that front, and I really don't trust them. Less so Gray Zabel, but more so Anthony Bradford. I keep forgetting their center's name.
Okay.
Buddy from, I think it's from North Dakota State. I keep forgetting his name, and I feel awful about that. But again, you have Milton Williams and Christian Barmore up front, and again, they love to run twists and stunts with the edge guys. I think they're going to struggle there. And you guys know that 90% of all the pressure that Darnold has faced in these two playoff games have come from those three guys?
Yeah.
90%. That's not particularly great. I think the Patriots' run defense is obviously really good. I think they're going to be able to kind of hold Kenneth Walker in check. And another thing that I have for my previews come out tomorrow, you can check that out at ThirdDownThursdays.com. Do you guys know that Kenneth Walker hasn't had more than 19 carries in a single game all year?
Nope.
Not a single one. He had 19
He's had his little running mate, Zach Charbonnet, all year. Guess what they don't have? Zach Charbonnet.
They don't have Zach Charbonnet.
That means they're trusting.
Yeah, and he's the better of the two guys in pass protection.
Yep.
Too, that's the other big thing.
They're trusting Cam Akers and George Halani.
Yeah, George Halani. He had
meaningful snaps.
3 carries not 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had 3 carries 2 weeks ago. He did not have a single one once Charbonnet went down back in the divisional round.
Nope.
I'm not super worried about Nick Immanwori in this game. I think they're going to get him with the finest drugs money can buy. He'll be good to go, I think. I think, again, it's really going to come down to pass protection in this game more than anything. I know it's like a no shit thing, but I think it's also kind of fair to maybe expect Drake May to be a little better in this one. Again, it's not a cold weather game again, and he's had the extra week to kind of heal up the shoulder. It's going to be a kind of a grinded out kind of game, but I am going to take the Patriots. If I want a final score, I'll go 27-23.
That's crazy because I originally was 1 point off, but I just tweaked my score in my head. But continue.
No, I'm all set. That's all I
Oh,
got.
we're done. Okay, I'm gonna take it here. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. Because technically we're over an hour. It doesn't really matter here because we're talking ball. But I've been very torn these past 2 weeks on who I think is gonna win because I genuinely do believe that there is a very the line might say 4.5, but to me this is very 50-50 ball to me. Each team has some strengths. Each team has some weaknesses. It can easily go either way, especially in it being neutral sites. However, as crazy as this might sound, I have the Seattle Seahawks winning this 30-24.
I agree, audience. I agree.
Yes, no Charbonnet really does hurt this offense, but with how crazy that the Seahawks defense has been all year, and just their consistency and like the things that they're doing that I just haven't seen defenses do. Like, yeah, Nick and Morty's the ankles tweaked. That sucks. But him and Ernest Jones in particular, I'm fully expecting to have a day. And then you look at Reek Woolen, who had his moment in the championship game. That's not happening again. Point blank period. I do not expect that to happen again.
We put you down on the record for that.
Please do, because if it happens again, I will happily take any flack, any tweets at me. Go for it. But this is where I'm gonna get crazy here, and you just need to hear me out. When JSN wins Super Bowl MVP with 12 receptions for 190 yards and 2 touchdown grabs, because I really do feel that Sam Darnold is going to be throwing the ball and then some all game, don't be surprised. He's probably going to have a couple picks. Bound to happen. Sammy Darnold. But he's never been in a moment like this before. And
But fairness,
really,
neither has the other guy.
yes, neither has the other guy. The other guy's also in his second year. This guy and Sam Darnold, 2 years ago, probably wasn't in the league. He has whatever chip is on his shoulder, it's not there anymore. People might think so, but me personally, Darnold's got nothing to lose in my eyes. He's got to go play football with his boys. And that's all he's gonna do, and that's what he's gonna do. And that's gonna lead to him winning the game. Seattle 30, New England 24.
All right, Kenny, you
However,
are the tiebreaker.
However, if New England wins, I'm gonna be really happy with Drake May because I've been blessed enough to talk to him on multiple occasions. Love the guy.
Pay your fucking respects. That's exactly right. Kenny,
Hey, if
you're the tiebreaker.
Jack, if he wins, I will pin my Drake May interview on my Twitter for the rest of the year.
Fair enough. I'll allow it. Kenny.
Yes. So I love all your statistics, Jack. Sai, I love all your ideas. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. This boils down to emotion for me, and I love Vrabel, an Ohio State man through and through. I like what he's been able to do in New England in a short period of time. But man, fuck New England. I'm sorry, but I'm tired of yeah, there we go, Boomy. It's enough is enough of Boston. Enough is enough of all of that. I'm tired of. We went from New England to Kansas City, and now we're back to goddamn New England again.
Listen, that's the monkey's paw. America said we don't want Kansas City anymore, and that was the trade-off.
Right, that's the trade, right? So, and I'm not a huge Seahawks head coach fan, right? He comes from Ann Arbor. Fuck Ann Arbor.
Oh, easy. That's awesome name you're talking about. Easy.
But Seattle has my guy, JSN, one of the best players from Ohio State, one of the best receivers from wide receiver U. JSN is going to get the game-winning touchdown. Seahawks win 24-20. That's it. Go Hawks? They don't do Go Birds, right? Go Hawks, I guess.
They don't do no birds. I think it is Go Hawks. The 12th band is gonna be really loud on Sunday.
Yeah, but you only need number 11. That's all you're gonna
That
need.
is very true. And
Got the fireball.
that's why I said he's gonna go off
Fire.
for 12 receptions for like 190 yards and 2 touchdown grabs. Because Sam Darnold's only gonna be
It's
looking
gonna
at
be a
him.
Santonio Holmes kind of performance.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're gonna get.
And then if we get a Rashid Shaheed punt return touchdown, a kick return touchdown, that's like icing on the cake. I will be betting on that on Sunday, by the way. Just let the record show. I know Patriots in particular, really good. I want to see it happen. I want to see
Now,
it happen.
I'm glad you brought up betting.
I'm-
Before we kind of start to wind down here, I actually want to bring up a couple things. Over under in the national anthem. Just real quick.
Can I get a line before I give my take?
It would have to involve.
I know I got a betting man below me, so I need a line before I give any takes because I need at least
A
some
wise
sort of,
man from Chicago who works in Chicago once told me a very valuable piece of information, and I've stuck with that.
Okay.
Except for the fact when I made my first ever actual bet, it was the under, and it won. Shocker. Life's too short to bet the under. You bet the over on the national.
I agree completely.
It's your
Actually.
God-given
That's
right.
my model I live by. I don't like betting under if I don't have to bet under.
Your God-given right to bet on the over.
Thank
I'll
you.
take
That's
the
all I need
under
to hear.
then.
That's all I need to hear. I'll take the over.
I like
Heads
the
or tails
opposition.
in the opening kick.
Thank you, Jack. You said the phrase I needed to hear. Thank you. We take
Heads or
over.
tails in the opening kick. What do you like?
Heads.
Tails.
Job Matt Slater heads always.
Tails.
Fucking square. Unbelievable. Kenny, you believe this
Crazy.
guy?
I'll take side. We can take side bet. I'll take side bets on the side, guys. Like
No.
we can play this game, guys. We can play this
Every game of Madden I've ever played, it's always been heads for the kickoff. That's what I always do. Always.
What's this? What Matt Slater did his entire career, and he won the 2 biggest coin tosses of his entire career on it. All right. I think that's going to do it for us this week. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you're on the YouTube gimmick, like and subscribe to help us out in the algorithm. Next week, don't know if we have this nailed down just yet, but how are you feeling about a mock draft, boys?
I would be game with that.
Let's do it.
Perfect. So that will do it for us. Once again, thank you all for joining us here on a Friday night. We do appreciate it. And I'm scrambling through the backstage to get to our favorite commercial, the only commercial that's really ever mattered on this program. And we'll see you next week. And hopefully my mental state isn't ruined.